Hi, all Lex Lives. I think it's time to play a little 7 Days to Die. Alright. Still working hard on this cold. It's definitely put a damper on recording the last week. I got a bunch I think I recorded 3 episodes last Tuesday. And then I haven't recorded anything since. Because I've been too sick. And then today I was recording, and my game crashed. And huh. And so when I started back up, no world. So I have been forced to start over. So that is where I'm at today. Starting over. Trying not to cough. That's where I'm at today. I recorded almost a whole episode. Made it most of the way through without coughing too much. And then I had about 5 minutes left. Game crashes. No, no, oh, no world, and my recording file was corrupted. So, thanks for that, game. Oh man, I'm so weak. So I did get to play our Starfinder game on Wednesday of last week. I'll tell you what, them guys. Okay, that's lead. That's not. So we talked about it before, but yeah, they. So there's 4 of us, and 2 of us are like, yeah, this starship combat, and the other 2 are like constant whining, just driving me crazy with it. And like it was so bad. We talked about how it was a whole new system, and how it was going to take a while to figure it out. I should should take my bed with me as I try to figure out where I want to be. Where did I put that thing? There it is. And so we got 4 positions on the ship. Uh, on top of that, we're playing on a whole new platform. We switched from we were playing on Roll20, which we've played hours and hours of games on, and I wanted to try something different because I didn't like how it was interacting with the new system that we were trying to play. Basically, we play a lot of D&D 5th edition, and so I wanted to play this Starfinder, and which is a whole different setup completely. And so I was trying to find a better system to play it on, and everybody said, well, not okay. I say everybody. I looked at some list of the best virtual tabletops to use, and this Foundry was one I had looked at before, and it was like number 1 on a bunch of the lists. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give her a try now that it's out. Because the problem was, is when I looked at it before, it was still in development, and but now it's fully working. And on top of that, it allows for open source mods to the actual tabletop, so they don't maintain a lot of the tools I'm using. Other people have made these tools available, and so it seemed to have a pretty healthy modder community. And Starfinder is one of the systems that they modded for, so it would support it. So I want to try that out. And so get all the stuff put in there for our first couple of maps that we're going to do, and get it all set up, and then but before that, we had played a night on Roll20 and discover, I told them it's going to be slow because this Starfinder is a much more rule intensive system than D&D, and there's a lot more numbers involved. And so people said, that if you've played 5th edition, you're going to find the game to be slower until you get the hang of it. And so I told him, hey, this is what's going to happen. It's going to be a lot slower than what we were playing. It's probably going to take us at least a whole session or more to get through the first combat, because not only is it different from anything we've ever played before, but on top of that, it doesn't work the same way as what we played before. And so I can already foresee that one attack per round is going to greatly increase the length of this first combat. Because the first combat was starship combat. And so and so when you play, let's see if he's got acid. Oh, he's got acid. Nice. Okay. Okay. All right. So now we've got the quests out of the way, and I've picked up a new quest, and now we can start looking for a place to build a home. So we play the first night on Roll20, and both. Okay, so you have to split up into roles, and I asked them what role they wanted me to do on the ship, because I don't want to be in charge of the game. Okay, that sounds weird because I'm the DM. But I would like to play as a character in the game I'm running, and when you do that, you have to not be in charge of the game. Otherwise, the game is all about your character, and it should be about the other players, since you know what's going on. And so that's the way I usually run. My guy's there, he does stuff, You know, he's good at lock picks. They need him to pick a lock. He picks the lock. But he's not going to tell him which way to go. He's not going to, you know, not going to have a lot of one-sided conversations where I talk to myself because I'm both the PC and the NPC. You know, uh, I leave that up to them. And so they said, you know, what are the roles available? And so we go down the list of roles that are available on a starship. And the one guy is playing a mechanic engineer character. He said, "Oh, I'll be the engineer." Cool. And then the technomancer, which is like a wizard who uses technology. He's like, "Oh well, I guess I'll be the captain." I'm like, "Well, there's a science officer." He's like, "Oh no, I'll be the science officer." I'm like, "All right." And so then the soldier on our team, he's called Solarian. He's not technically oh, that's my quest. I don't want a quest. I want to look for some place that I can build my first base at. I feel like it should be back over there somewhere. I like a nice tall location to keep me out of the zombies at night. And if we base it on an actual building, then a lot of times that won't get knocked down. So uh, I wonder what the top floor of Buddy's Greens here looks like. I'm going to plot my bedroll down here. And we'll see if Buddy's Greens is a potential. I feel like this club is about to break. Yep. So, uh, so that's what we ended up with, was a science officer, an engineer, a gunner, and a pilot. My character's a pilot, technomancer is a science officer, engineer is the engineer, and the Solarian, which is a soldier who uses like a energy weapon, um, like a lightsaber kind of thing, is our gunner, because I felt like he has the most combat-oriented attack, you know, stats. And while gunning from a ship isn't pure combat does play into it, and he had the best combat bonus out of all of us. Now, his dexterity wasn't as good as other people's, but this does look like it has potential here. Given that there's a gap. Oh crap. Well, it's less potential when given that you gotta jump across here to get up here, this does seem like my new potential base. And so when we get in our first nights of combat, the gunner is not rolling well, and we've only got one weapon on the ship. So that means that each round we can only fire one time. And um, so it's slow going. And I told him it was going to be slow going because hmm, because we did not have the stats or the weapons or anything, right? I don't know why they won't let me place this down on. Why can't I just place this down? There's no way that works. I'll have to fix that when I come back. Okay, there we go. That's home. And so uh, we broke down some of its shields, more than it broke down our shields the first night, and then even while we were in combat, the engineer starts whining uh, about how maybe he should take over as gunner. He's very upset that the guy playing gunner isn't rolling well enough to hit the bad guy. And that he's looking at the rules, and the rules state that dexterity can be added to the attack, and he's looking at everybody's stats, and his dexterity is higher than the gunners or the Solarians, and so he should be the gunner, not the Solarian. And I'm like, okay, but what would you like the Solarian to do then? And he's like, well, he can be the engineer. I'm like, no, he can't, because engineering is a trained skill, and he's not trained in engineering. He's not trained in piloting, so he can't be the pilot. He doesn't have the computer skills to be the science officer. He doesn't have the charisma skills to be the captain. But what he does have is a bonus to attack that applies to the ship's weapon. Which, you know. And then Slayer's like, well, I can't roll anything, so maybe we should just get somebody else to be the gunner. I'm like, listen, it's okay. Like, I told you, it was going to take a while. We're level 1. It's, it's our first time using this system. How about we give it a minute before y'all already decide to quit? And the Technic Master's like, yeah, I'm having fun. So, and the thing is that in normal combat, in a system like this, each round of combat is made up of everybody doing something with their character, and it usually involves moving, using items, attacking, whatever. Well, in Starfinder, when you're in starship combat, you have very limited things you can do. And so the pilot is the mover. The science officer is the item user. The engineer is the repair guy. And the gunner is the guy who throws out your attacks. And so instead of you doing all of that on your turn, you only get to do one of those on your turn. And I told him it's a slower game than that, and we're on a ship, so we got to work together for this one combat. Let me stress that this is the only ship combat in the entire first book of this adventure. There is no more ship combat after this first ship combat. Combat that we have never done before, because it's a brand new system that we've never used before. And so it's not like every night is going to be this, right? We just got to get through this first combat, get the kinks out, and then we should be good to go to get the next round of kinks out, because Starfinder is different from D&D. D&D's got one system for everything, and Starfinder has 3 different kinds of combat. There's starship combat, there's vehicle combat, which would be vehicles while you're on a planet. And then there's um, normal person-to-person combat. Normal person-to-person combat is basically all you have in D&D. Um, and so, like vehicle combat in Starfinder doesn't use um, movement. Instead, it uses advance and retreat mechanics, right? Uh, and so, uh, but beyond that, it kind of works like Starship Combat. And Starship Combat, you do have movement, but then you also have crazy things like when you turn, your ship has a turn rating, which is how fast it's able to make its turns. And so, like, our ship has a turn rating of 2. So every 2 moves forward, I can turn the ship 1 position, either left or right. And so it's on a hex. So there's, right, 6 sides. And so that's the way it works. And so it's very different from what we normally play. And but oof, no, the gunner and the engineer, they just threw a fit. And afterwards, they were like sending me messages about how they thought that maybe maybe if I was getting messages from they were in the same chat room. So the gunner was like, I think maybe I should move to a different position. We barely did any damage last night. And I couldn't hit anything, so it might be better if somebody else takes over the gunner position. And I'm like, sure, but we've only got 1 weapon, and it doesn't do a lot of damage, and it was our first night playing. And I'm like, what other position would you like to play then? Because your character is not statted out to take over most of the other positions, because you have to have the skills in those positions, and your skill is weapons, which is why we put you on weapons. And then, then the engineer, he's like, well, my stats, if I play them out uh, according to the rules, would actually be, yeah, I'm like, I know, 1 point higher than what he's rolling. How about you slow your roll? Because 1 point, again, as I've stated before, not usually going to make a difference to the roll. Uh, and so then I pointed out that my guy would get 2 points higher than him, but I don't want to be the gunner because I'm the pilot. I'm like, you want to re-roll your stats and make yourself the pilot? Well, no, I don't want to change my stats. I'm like, okay, well, then we need points in piloting to be the pilot. That's me. You need, you know, points in computer to be the science officer. That's the technomancer. You need points in engineering to be the engineer. Oh, look at that. That's the mechanic. And you have the gunner, has the Solarian, has the highest combat bonus out of everybody in the group. And you know what that means? You have the biggest bonus for the combat skill, which is applied to ship attack. And yeah, so he's like, well, I don't know. I'm like, dude, we got 1 weapon. It barely does any damage. We're level 1. Obviously, it's going to be more difficult for us to hit things. And so then we start in this week with the new sit-up. And so we're playing with that a little bit till we get the hang of it. And then we start combat back up, fighting this ship combat. And, the gunner's having problems again, rolling well enough to hit. He just rolls bad for some reason. And it's fine. And so then the gunner's like, well, or the engineer's like, well, can I get on the gun too? I'm like, no, that's not how the game works. There's 1 gun. There's 1 gun. You can fire it once. That's it. Well, maybe I should take over as gunner. Again, we've already had this conversation, I said. You want us to shift positions? You guys go right ahead. I'm done discussing it. The first round, or the first part of every round, is to shift positions. If the two you decide you don't want to be in the position you're in, then go ahead. But you're going to leave us without an engineer. Okay, take over engineer. No, we already discussed this. He doesn't have points in engineering. He can't be the ship's engineer. Well, we should probably have an engineer. Yeah, we probably should. Remember back when we were making the characters and I said, all right, I do want to warn you that ships have specific things, specific positions, and you have to decide what position. You might want to think about what position you want on the ship when you make your character. Well, I wasn't joking. I don't. If you don't want to be the engineer, then don't be the engineer. All right. Uh, One of you can be the captain. I don't care. Whatever. Do what you want. I simply, it doesn't matter. Because I got too much junk, man. It doesn't matter. Be what you want, but you're not going to be the pilot because my guy's the pilot, and you're not going to be the science officer because the science officer is already filled. So you guys can shift however you want. Just do it. Do it and stop talking about it. All right? I'm done. Do what you want. Just stop talking about it. Well, I mean, I don't know what you're getting so mad for. Because you guys have been talking for days about this. We've discussed it over and over and over. And you're just slowing down combat at this point, whining about how you wish you could do all the parts, but you can't do all the parts, right? Other people also would like to do their parts. I'm sorry that this is the way ship combat works, okay? But it does. Everybody gets a part. You do your part, and then the next guy gets to go and do his part. You know, as a crew of a starship, not individual runs every position. Doesn't work that way. So, we went back to nobody moved. I think the engineer might have moved one round and then decided he didn't like being captain. Or I think my club broke there on me. But yeah, and then while we were doing that, then he was like, "Is there any way that I could also fire the gun?" I'm like, "No, you can't. We got one gun. It can fire one time per round. That's it." All right. I don't see this as being that hard of a concept, man. So, we we finally defeated the other starship, and then we entered the new ship. All right, I want to get this over here because I don't trust. I don't trust it up on the weird positioning that it was doing. In fact, most of this will probably come out as I get going here. Do I have nails? Oh, I've got 4 nails. Can I build like a storage chest? There we go. And so we got on board the ship. It's a brand new system, so I'm still trying to figure out all the ins and outs. And so we did run into a little. Nope. I don't know why my club didn't swing at that guy now. It's not even anywhere near broken. Ugh, I'm gonna wait till I get better tools again. Well, it looks like I had a little problem as well. Cut me off in the middle of my sentence. But yeah, we had a little problem with the lighting, and I couldn't remember how to do the settings, and so because transferring the game from the desktop app to the server that we were playing on, all the settings got reset, and so the lighting settings were in different places, and so we had to play what little bit we did after finally killing the whale ship, um, with just having the whole map visible. Because I'm like, man, I don't know. I've got all the settings on here turned on. Fog of war, character limited to their own site, share site between the characters. So they can all see the same things. Uh, I don't have like darkness turned on. Like I don't know what the deal is. And then after we went through about 4 rooms, I'm like, oh yeah, it's sitting on the token itself. Character has vision. So we got that situated, and then we made it to the first fight as characters, and I wasn't sure how to set up a fight because I hadn't done that before, and it turned out that it was just um, it was sitting on the tokens again. You'd think it'd be on the encounter tab, but it wasn't. So, but yeah, so we got to that point, and it was about time to quit anyways, so we called it there. But yeah, I actually got to finish the session of Starfinder, which I've been waiting like a month to work on. So that's cool. And then all right, this is where I think I died in here. No, I didn't die in here. Empty bathtub filled. I was down somewhere though and got killed, right? But yep. So that means this week should be regular old D&D. Some of our dungeon crawl. I don't even remember where we left off because it's been like 6 or 7 weeks. I assume we'd finished the castle that we were at. I'm pretty sure we didn't even get to go in all the rooms. We went in like one room, killed a few people, and then he was like, "Yep, that's the castle cleared. Here's the list of all the stuff." Like, okay. Exploring is part of the fun for us. I don't know what the deal is, man. I don't know why you hate it so much. I don't know why you want to run a game that you clearly hate. But, yep. I guess real quick, I know it's over time, but real quick before we go, I just want to talk about, I watched, We're All Dead, or Everyone is Dead. It might be called Everyone is Dead. Korean zombie series on Netflix. It's got English dubbing, so it was easy to watch, and the dubbing was pretty good. It was fun. I liked it a lot. It kind of reminded me of a little bit of High School of the Dead, which is an old anime I really enjoyed. I think that anime had some of the best zombies ever. But this one was pretty good. Really impressive. I don't know what you call it, body work from the people who were zombies on the show. Um, I like their fast zombies were very agile when getting back up. It was cool to watch them basically stand up from the ground constantly. And But it was pretty fun story. They uh, Basically a kid was being bullied, and his father worked for a pharmaceutical company, and then quit to work at the high school where the son went to school, and studied mice. Um, and as they say in the show, uh, oh look, there's my weapon. Dang it, guy came in from the other direction too. Pinched me in. Um, Mice kind of go dormant when they get attacked, kind of thing, or they run away, you know. But some mice will fight back, like against cats and stuff. So that's what he studied, was what made them different, and then he made a serum from it and gave it to his son. And so then when his son fought back, I think it was his son, got thrown off a building and died, and then the virus took over. And then his son woke back up, and when the father got to the hospital, he realized something had gone horribly wrong, and so he smuggled the son out of the hospital back to the apartment. And then the son bit the mother, and then the mother turned into a zombie as well. And so he was using the school's science lab to do his research, and he had one of his test subjects there, a mouse, and this girl saw it, and she got bit by the mouse, so then she became infected, and then and so she infected some other people, and then they took her to the hospital where she infected even more people, and that just spread from there. 12 episodes. I think the episodes are an hour each. It was good. It wasn't amazing, I guess, but it was a lot of fun, and they had some pretty hardcore zombie moments, as well as like mutations in the virus causing a more intellectually aware zombie, and um, stuff like that. So if you like zombie stuff, it's definitely worth a watch. I rather enjoyed it. I don't know if they'll do a season 2, but if they do, I would definitely be there for that. All right, with that, be better than small things, lean to the light, and I will talk to you later.